I'm sure you're all wondering why I've gathered you here today. The last surviving relatives of the Peckman family, after your father's tragic accident. Well, I'm afraid it wasn't an accident, but murder. Isn't that right, Millicent? Because it wasn't flour on your hands that day, was it? From your adorable hobby of baking, but rather climbing chalk from your less adorable hobby of murder. Oh. You're allergic to chalk, aren't you? Then it was Stephen. Was it you? Oh, I'm really sorry. Can everybody do the same time tomorrow? I don't know what the word lampooning means, but I can tell you that for the last couple of years, Shut Up and Sit Down has been lampooned with the following 3 questions that we can't answer. First off, what's the best solo game? We don't know. Mage Knight is probably the one that suffers the least. Number 2, what's the best game for couples? Well, you could buy Tie and Tease, which is, I've had some, no. And then question number 3, you guys are from London. The BBC Sherlock remake is amazing. What deduction game will make me feel like Sherlock Holmes? So you can imagine how happy I was to realise that Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective is the best solo game I've ever played. It is the best game for couples, and it will actually not make you feel like Sherlock Holmes. This game will make you feel like the opposite of Sherlock Holmes. It'll make you feel like a potato trapped in a drain pipe. In fact, it made me feel so stupid that I had to genuinely reconsider how smart I thought I was after playing it. That is my favourite thing about it, and I think it will be yours too. It's also the first time in a while that we've looked at a box where everything in it is genuinely exciting, all right? Look, we've got an invitingly slim manual. We have a map of London. How's that going to work? We've got a London directory with all the businesses and addresses of everyone who works in London. We have exactly 10 new, never before seen Sherlock Holmes cases. 10 games for you to play through that might take an hour or 2 hours or a week, depending on how mad you are. And finally, we have now probably my favorite new prop in any board game. Every case is accompanied by the day's newspaper, which, as you'd imagine, is mostly nonsense, but there's also nothing on it marking it as a prop from the game. Perhaps the smart ones among you have already made your first deduction. This game is such a good solo game because you get these fabulous, well written by the way, materials to yourself. No need for sharing, just you, a newspaper, a tumbler of scotch, some Ethiopian jazz. Or maybe you're in a bath, having a me day, pina colada, browsing a map of London. Maybe you're in a forest, birds all around you, bottle of Lucozade, you're wearing a nappy. Don't judge it till you've tried it. Don't judge, it's what broad-mindedness, it's what Sherlock would have wanted. The game itself could not be simpler or better. You'll have your materials for the case, you'll have your notepad and your writing implement, you'll have your beverage. Then one player will take the case you're performing and read the introduction aloud. It's no spoiler to tell you that case number 1, the Munitions Magnate, regards the death of one Courtney Allen, the head of an arms company, found shot in the alleyway outside of his business. One player will read the introduction with some suspects, some information on him and his family in this case, some evidence, some scraps of paper found in his pocket, and then the game throws open the door to 221B Baker Street, so much so that you can hear the clatter of hooves and the noise of hawkers selling their wares and the smell of human filth. And it says, go. Now, here's the thing, because you've got the London directory, everything has a code. All of Sherlock's contacts have a code. All the locations in the city, businesses have codes. So you get the code of where you want to go, and then you just look it up in the booklet, and I swear it will have a section, maybe a paragraph or something longer. So for example, let's say we visit the crime scene for our first stop. Some other player will read aloud. By pre-arrangement, we meet Constable Beadle behind the Grant Arms Company in the alleyway parallel to Leonard Street. This is literally the entire game. You turn to a reference, somebody announces, "Oh, it's a long entry!" You laugh at them because that sounds really rude. Then you read it as a group, you gather a few more crumbs of information about your case. You decide where to go next. The game ends when you want it to, which is a fantastic thing to say about a game. At the back of each case is this doomsday page, a questionnaire. Who did it? Why did they do it? How did they do it? And what was happening with this other stuff on the side? Now, Holmes appears on the very next page and he gives you an official parlor scene. He strides into the room and says, "Well, obviously I knew this because of this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And I'm a prick." And I'm allowed to say that Sherlock Holmes is a prick because I'm a Londoner. And frankly, after playing this game, you will realise how much of a bastard he is. This is one of my favourite things about it. You get to be that guy in the room hating him and how smart he is, because he will have seen such obvious stuff that you missed. Now, the manual says that if you can beat Sherlock Holmes by scoring 100 points or more, you're doing well. Because here's the thing, you lose 5 points for every location you visit more than Holmes, and then you get points back for correctly answering questions on the questionnaire. I'm going to say something else. I'm going to say you shouldn't buy this game and try and beat Holmes. Buy this game and try and beat me. I didn't score 100 points on the first case. Myself, I scored minus 65. That's how bad I am at this game. Minus 65. I am the opposite of a cop. I'm a criminal, and I love it. I can only imagine how much fun this game is if you're actually able to solve the phenomenal puzzles within. Here's why you have to buy this game if you care about popular culture. As humans, we have this great history of mystery stories and whodunits, where a book or TV program presents us with an impossible riddle and then slowly, hypnotizingly, unties it for us across the course of the story. Humans will always try and solve these things, but I've found that an exercise in frustration. The author or director of this show will guide your sight away from the answer. They won't give you time to think so that you're able to enjoy that reveal at the end. Video games too have experimented with murder mysteries, but the cost of creating content in a video game, the length they have to be, and the cultural demand that players be able to finish them, mean they end up being linear. The player led from the nose from plot point to plot point until finally they solve them. After 2 decades of Poirot and Girl with Dragon Tattoo and Jonathan Creek and remake after remake of Sherlock, Consulting Detective was finally the construct that scratched my itch to solve a mystery. Because you're not meant to solve it. You're not meant to not solve it. All it wants to do is provide you with a level, fair playing field with which to think. Every step you make as you walk around London, you are chasing the spectre of success. You're being haunted by the possibility of failure. I didn't even solve the case, and it scratched my itch to solve a case. That's how good this is. And let's talk about pace. It should be clear at this point that I love this game, but let's talk about a success that it has, which is a little more subjective, all right? Namely, how it's able to keep up tension for hours on end. You are always insufferably close to solving this mystery, and yet just never quite sure. You might think that if you visit 100 locations, you're going to get 100 pieces of evidence that all point towards the same conclusion. But it's not true when a narrative isn't directed. Instead, if you visit 100 locations, you get 100 opinions. You get double the smoking guns. You get triple the suspects. A good example that, again, isn't a spoiler. Front and center in that Magnate's case's day's newspaper, there is the result of a shooting competition. See here, these are the bullseyes. And you notice that your suspects, are all marksmen. And you go, "Oh my God," and you slap each other in the back and you feel smart. And then you feel stupid because you realize those specific suspects, none of them could have been at the scene of the crime at that time. Another example, right? In the second case, when you visit the crime scene, the deceased has a collection of miniatures, and you notice that one of them is turned around 180 degrees. And one of you will go, "Oh my God, the deceased was sending a message before he died," and you'll all feel so smart because that's the only way it'd be turned around. Then you'll realize you don't know why it was turned around or what that represents. It is staggering that the designers, through craft alone, have been able to give a freeform game relentless pace. I could go on. I could talk about how no other board game lets players use such a broad range of skills, and how in a group of 3, some players will be contributing politics or psychology or history or economics. Another player might just frankly be telling you how old a man could be and still scale a 6-foot wall. I could reiterate how good that ending is, and how either you're going to get a huge slap on the back from being smart, or you're going to be told exactly why you're stupid, both of which are equally satisfying. Or I could point out that this game was first released in 1981, making it and Arabian Nights our 2 favourite storyboard games. Huge shames, because no other publisher has eclipsed what they were able to do 30, almost 40 now, years ago. But instead, I'm going to wrap things up by giving you this sales pitch. My friend and I were about 90 minutes into case number 2. We'd been running all over London, but our leads had gone cold, and we agreed that we had to solve the mystery with the information we had rather than casting our net any wider. And without thinking, I stood up, took my cocktail, and lay down on the floor like an eccentric detective off of TV. But I wasn't being melodramatic. I'd just been sitting at the table for too long and had to shake up my brain. My friend came down and she laid down next to me, and we played like that, just talking everything through, agonizing over what we couldn't explain for 20 more minutes. The game had left the table. Like some spirit we'd summoned with a Ouija board, it had possessed us and we couldn't get away from it. Amazing! Shut Up and Sit Down categorically recommends Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. For ease of use though, let's just wrap up with a few things about this game you can and can't complain about. Number one, there are some typos in this game. They're annoying. They're especially annoying when they lead to you not being able to consult the right grid references. They're rare though, and not enough to dampen the game's firework display. You can complain about those. Number 2, some cases are better than others. Case number 3, I'm looking at you, you frustrating thing. Number 3 though, there are only 10 cases in the box, and so the game has a lifespan. Oh my God, you cannot complain about that, all right? Most humans will be able to buy a pizza for a tenner, eat the contents, and throw the box away and feel okay. This is a game that offers 10 evenings you will remember for the rest of your life, and then you're done with it. That is still astonishing value for money. If you lock this game out of your life because you won't be able to play it until you die, I say this for your own good, you might be an awful person. I mean, plus when you finish this game, you can either keep it on your wall as a keepsake, which is great, or you can give it to someone else. Doesn't that sound pretty good? You can give them the same cases that you struggled over. You can see whether they solve it, whether they are smarter than you. Or just bury it. Just bury the thing, you know, because that's a cool and social thing to do. Bye! Probably just eBay it. Just eBay it. Just eBay it. eBay it. It's a sensible thing to do.